Hello and welcome. This video is a little different to my usual. I recently went shopping in Saint-Germain. It's a neighborhood that's located in the 6th arrondissement in Paris. And it was only after I'd returned back to London I thought, I really liked all of those brands. And those are the type of brands that I would recommend to friends, particularly if they said, can you recommend somewhere in Paris that's a little off the beaten track, high quality, under the radar, more affordable, mid-lux price point? Then the brands I'm going to talk about are just that. As you know, I'm not into gatekeeping. I'm all for bringing and sharing brands in my comment section. If any of you know of these brands, have tried them, they're on your radar, please do let me know. But I need to caveat this video and say, I didn't take a lot of visuals, and that's because I was shopping for myself. And the few visuals I did take were for my family, just to get the approval before pulling the trigger. I'm Anesu Sagonda and I produce educational luxury content for anyone after the finer things, whether you're young and starting out in life and wanting to reap the benefits of buying better quality from the get-go, or you're into luxury but you want to focus more on high quality, under the radar brands, or you're new to money and wanting to learn how to navigate the terrain, then my content is geared towards you. I was primarily in Saint-Germain to take a look at two homeware stores, Simrane and Jacquard Francais. Both brands are focused on linens for the home, so think of bed, bath, table and kitchen linens. And they're located on Rue Bonaparte. And as I was walking down towards my first store, Simrane, I noticed an artisanal chocolate shop called Dengo at number 58. And what caught my attention were the big slabs of chocolate in the store. Very similar to how a Swiss brand I like called LATCH exhibits its chocolate. Whenever I travel, particularly to a country that grows cocoa beans, I'll always make it a point to look for artisanal chocolate, or what is commonly referred to as bean-to-bar chocolate makers, and buy as much chocolate as I can physically bring back to the United Kingdom, because chocolate is my guilty pleasure. And as I'm getting older, I'm becoming incredibly precious with my calories. And when I eat chocolate, which is often, I would like to eat the very best quality chocolate. And that's exactly what bean-to-bar chocolate is. It's chocolate that's made in small batches using incredibly high quality natural ingredients. There are no additives, preservatives. There are three core ingredients: cocoa bean, processed into nibs, cocoa butter, and sugar. And if it has any flavoring, think of fruits or nuts, they're also natural. And so I went into the store. It's a Brazilian brand. The chocolate is made from Brazilian cocoa beans. And I bought 3 slabs of chocolate. The first 2 were the best-selling lines, which were made from a mixture of fruit and nuts native to Brazil. And then at the till point, paying for the first 2 slabs, I was purchasing about 150 to 200 grams of each. I was given a sample of the dark chocolate with coconut. Incredibly intense, rich, smooth chocolate that melted slowly in my mouth. What I tasted first and foremost was the fruity, nutty taste of the coconut. And then the cocoa started coming through slowly. Absolutely delicious, and one of the best ways to sell chocolate. So purchased 3 slabs of chocolate and then proceeded on to Simrane. A few doors before Simrane, at number 33, I noticed a jewelry store. But I actually very quickly looked at the jewelry as I was looking around the street trying to take it all in. And I thought, hang on a second. I walked past, and then 5-10 seconds later, I stopped and thought, no, there's something that caught my eye. And I walked back. Found it really interesting because I typically do not like big, bold statement jewelry. It's something I personally don't like, but I can really appreciate on other people, and I can appreciate well-made jewelry. Fabrice have an online e-commerce store which doesn't do justice to the brand. It's actually a website that's underwhelming. It isn't any different to the usual in terms of basic, simple pieces of jewelry in diamonds or pearls. Nothing outstanding. Their unique selling point is their statement pieces. They are absolutely spectacular. It's a small family-run business. They design and craft their pieces by hand. But oh my goodness, the quality of the materials they use, the craftsmanship is absolutely outstanding. They are pricey. The pieces I tended to like, I noticed, were between 1,500 and 2,250 euros, particularly the piece that I went back to take a look at, made from a mixture of coral as well as sandstone. Absolutely stunning. If you are somebody who is getting married, you're going to a special event, a party, a special birthday, you're the mother of the bride or the groom, and you'd like a statement piece, and you're in Paris shopping, then Fabrice really needs to be on your radar. Then from Fabrice, I then proceeded on to Simrane. In addition to linens for the home, Simrane also craft soft furnishings. So think of curtains, lampshades, quilts, and cushion covers, as well as apparel. All of their products are made using fabric that has been woven and printed with traditional Indian designs in India. All of the designs are Parisian reimagined, so they have a Parisian twist to what are otherwise traditional Indian designs. It's a small family-run business, and the designer will create 25 exclusive designs every single year, which are then used to craft all of their products. They have 2 stores on Rue Bonaparte, 25 and 23. 25 is where the apparel is sold, and then 23, which I visited, is where everything else is sold. I managed to only take pictures of the second floor, the basement, and that's because when I arrived, it just happened to become fairly busy quite quickly, and most of the customers were on the top floor where the soft furnishings were, for example. And then in the basement where they had the tablecloths, the table linen, the runners, the placemats and so forth. There were a couple of customers who didn't stay for long. So I had the chance to really explore and get to see and appreciate the product. I ended up buying 2 sets of napkins, one for myself and one as a gift. And Simrane is a brand I will talk about in an upcoming napkin video. I then moved on to Le Jacquard Francais, diagonally opposite Simrane. Le Jacquard Francais is a French brand, entirely French brand, French designed, French made products using cotton and linen, and it's linens for the inside as well as outside the home. With Le Jacquard Francais, they invented the jacquard weave, which is absolutely stunning. It's a raised decorative weave, and they also weave a fabric that's called damask. Damask can be used either the front or the back, the top or the bottom. The design looks beautiful either side. How Le Jacquard Francais works is they have a fairly diverse selection of tablecloths, and they will craft napkins that match the tablecloths. So they didn't have napkins that were readily available for me to buy. And I actually arrived feeling so overwhelmed from Simrane because I was pouring through so many designs and my brain was overloaded. So I think next time I go into Paris, I will try and go back to Le Jacquard Francais because I do like the 6th arrondissement, and it's an excuse to spend a bit more time, maybe even check into a hotel in the local area. Then I can take a look at Le Jacquard Francais when I'm a little fresh and not as fatigued by too many designs. But I am familiar with the brand. In the past, I've bought several tea towels because they are really nice, they're decorative, they make for really good presents. I have some myself, and I know in a previous video I mentioned all of my tea towels are Mungo, but I do have a mixture of Mungo as well as Le Jacquard Francais. And I ended up buying some more tea towels for myself as well as gifts. And I just think tea towels are something you can never have too much of. From Le Jacquard Francais, I proceeded on to L'Aigner showroom located in the 7th arrondissement. And as I was walking down Rue de la Université at number 38, I walked past what looked like a boutique retailing women's wear. And then a few doors down, I thought, something looked interesting in the window. And I walked back and went into the boutique. And I gravitated towards a rail with shirts. And the shirts were very different. They were nothing like I've ever seen. There was a shirt with full smoking. and frills on the cuff. And then there was a second shirt with a big bow on the front, balloon sleeves, and in a combination of blue and beige in hues I've never seen together. And I also noticed other patterns and styles that were different to anything I'd ever seen anywhere before. It was a boutique called Maria de la Orden. It's a Spanish brand with one boutique in Madrid and two in Paris. And it's a brand focused on feminine statement silhouettes. They craft pieces that are different to anything that you've ever seen. They really stand out. There's a lot of peplums, frills, bows, smocking, the full smocked shirt. And I remember looking at the shirt, and if I'd seen it in a color that I liked, I would have pulled the trigger. It was only once I was back in London, I noticed a yellow shirt online, and I thought, oh my gosh, if I'd seen this in Paris, I'd have pulled the trigger. But I did pull the trigger on the shirt with the big bow and the balloon sleeves and the combination of blue and sand in hues I'd never seen. It was absolutely exquisite. And it's the first time I've ever walked into a boutique, and granted, I was under a lot of time pressure. I typically will spend time, look at things, turn them inside out and explore other things in the boutique. But I literally picked up something that I really liked the look of aesthetically. Didn't even look at the inside, look at the details, how well it had been sewn or not. Tried it for size and then pulled the trigger and left very quickly and proceeded on to L'Aigner. And so it's something I'll be trying, but I definitely will go back to the 6th arrondissement and specifically to Maria de la Orden to take a look. Had a look at their website, and I like the fact that they have a number of events with different drops, and they talk in detail about the pieces and the quality of the materials, a lot of natural fabrics, think of linen, wool and cotton 100%. So it's a brand I definitely have on my radar, and I would like to explore in more detail before deciding whether I like it or not. But it fits very comfortably within the mid-tier. And then from there, literally a few doors down at number 56, I stumbled upon Bain Marie. Bain Marie is a homeware brand that's been on my radar for years. And I've just never been able to go and see them. I haven't really focused on homeware the last few times I've been in Paris. And then I thought, I'm outside, literally, let me just go in for 2 minutes just to get an idea of the aesthetic and what the brand is about. Walked in and served by a lovely man called Maxim. And he had customers in there, a couple who were just finishing off their sale, and warmly welcomed, and I was told he'd be with me in a few minutes. It's an absolute treasure trove. I remember saying to Maxim as I walked in, my gosh, this is a treasure trove, because it's a small store, but it is absolutely packed with a lot of antique silverware and ceramics. The brand Bain Marie is also focused on their own range of ceramics, which is what I'm personally interested in. The brand is run and owned by Aude Clement, and she runs the brand with her son, César Clement. And Aude started the brand in 1977. She was a journalist at that time, and she decided she wanted to design and edit her own objet to illustrate her articles. So she opened her first store, and the rest is history. She currently has 2 stores, and she literally scours the globe for antique silverware and ceramics, and she has an absolutely outstanding eye for the finer things. The selection of pieces in her store is absolutely staggering, and it fits perfectly with my own aesthetic. There are a couple of things that caught my attention, and what was meant to be literally 2 minutes just to see what the brand is about ended up being 45 minutes. I nearly missed my appointment at L'Aigner, but it was worth it, because the product, the aesthetic, the details on everything, and the quality of the antiques, absolutely stunning, coupled with the experience. The sales assistant, Maxim, is an absolute asset to the brand. He is wonderful. He is kind, he's patient, he's poised, and he's incredibly knowledgeable and passionate about the product. All you have to do is walk in, tell him what you would like, and he just pulls things out of boxes and drawers and cupboards because everything is tucked away. There's a lot of stuff and they've had to maximize on their space. So you mentioned something, he will bring something out. And I remember saying to him, oh my goodness, I really like the concept of having afternoon tea like I would do as a child after school, and my grandmother would bake something fresh every afternoon, and we would have it on really nice fine bone china plates and teacups, and I miss that, and it's something I really want to recreate. And he proceeded to bring out a number of antique plates and cake stands. And every time I saw something and I started walking towards the door, he'd say, oh, hang on a second, I have something else you might like. And I remember right at the beginning noticing a selection of plates that are part of their own brand called the Edible Plant Collection. And I really like it. And I actually wanted to pull the trigger. And the only thing that stopped me doing that was the fact that I just didn't have the carrying capacity. I liked the concept of the really big plate, possibly 50 centimeters across. And it's the type of plate that would be fantastic if you're entertaining. You have a number of side plates depending on the number of guests, and you serve the entire meal on the big plate, and you just break bread together and just eat from the plate and dish onto your plate. And I thought, oh my goodness, what a wonderful way of entertaining. And it takes me back to my childhood in Zimbabwe. Depending on certain visitors we would see, we would be in someone's house and food would be served from communal plates and you eat from those plates together. And it took me back to that. But this is a lot more elegant, a lot more refined, a lot more elevated. And I definitely want to pull the trigger on their edible plant collection. And then also look at some of the antique side plates and cake stands and so forth. It's an absolute treasure trove. Aude Clement is focused on just buying pieces. It would be great if she also was involved in talking about the pieces, the inspiration, finding things, what she looks for and so forth, because she buys and then sells the stuff and just goes around looking for things. But it would be great to get a lot more information on the pieces. So that's a flying visit through Saint-Germain in the 6th arrondissement in Paris. I'll definitely be back next time I'm in Paris, and I really will consider looking for a hotel in the area so I get to spend a bit more time. I can justify it. Any thoughts, any questions? Do any of you know any of these brands? Let me know as always in the comment section down below.